Hello and welcome to the very final chapter of the book. The focus of the third and final chapter, Mindful Leaders as Lifelong Learners, is about leaders' self awareness and their continuous learning. Tim Friederich, in his article The Mindful Class, describes the experience and the simulation of mindful leadership in the class environment through skill centered classroom simulations. This teaching approach improves the learning capabilities and develops the critical thinking, empowering the individual and their social skills in doing leadership. In the same chapter, as a special guest, Niccolò Branca, CEO and President at Fratelli Branca Distillerie in Italy, gives his direct contribution. His presence in the case study about his company and the Skype conference held with the class during the fall 2017 course brings value to our leadership journey. With his article, Two or Three Things I Know About Leadership, he validates the recipe of mindful leadership by making it more authentic and true. He actively contributes to shape a mindful leadership culture as a key element not only for companies and organizations, but for society and the environment. And we all are grateful for his contribution to the book. In this section, you will find these two articles, and I'm now starting the narrative about the first one, which is titled The Mindful Class, written by Tim Friederich. Basic Leadership Skills course, Fall 2017. 8:45 a.m. Monday morning. Still, the classroom is filled up with students, 55 to be precise. Students from all over the world in one classroom. Different nationalities, different cultures, different habits. Everything was diverse, loud, interesting, and in front, Marcella. She's introducing the students to a class called Basic Leadership Skills. Basic Leadership Skills, that name was not very suitable, realizing the importance and idea of leadership and understanding the difference between leadership and management would have been a better name, but that is way too long and it was part of the journey. The journey which I am going to present to you in the following article. Since I studied engineering, this was the first business class I ever attended. I was not sure if I was right to be in that class, not knowing anything about leadership or management. It would be shown later that I was in the very right place at the very right time. But before sharing my personal experience, the simulation experience needs to be explained. Mindful Leadership Class Simulation. In this class, the leadership simulation has been inspired and adapted according to the work about the mindful class simulation of Figueira, 2014, called Developing Practical Analytical Skills Through Mindful Classroom Simulations for Doing Leadership, and the work of Reich and Sanj in 2017, titled Launching Innovation in Schools. The simulation in the Basic Leadership Skills course had the target of getting students to gain practical experience by performing and doing leadership. There are three main stages of learning in this process: knowledge through lectures, knowledge/experience through practical work and challenges, knowledge/experience through teamwork project-based learning. The lectures. The lectures delivered a lot of content. It dealt with the meaning of leadership, the attempts to explain it. Several ideas of definitions were discussed, but it was concluded that the students would have to find their own way to define leadership. All the requirements and skills for being a leader were set. with the outcome that it does not just need followers. It also needs a shared purpose, the same intention, and the ability to adapt to and encourage change. The history of leadership was discussed, from the great man theory to the relational theories, flying through the 4 years of leadership understanding how the meaning of leadership changed through time, and that is still adjustable. After knowing these fundamentals, we proceeded with the 5 main leadership theories approaches: the trait, the behavior, the power influence, the situational, and the integrative relational approach. Knowing about the evolution and existence of these theories and approaches is mandatory to understand leadership and how to develop it. To retain all this knowledge and be able to use it in teamwork, the teams had to prepare presentations to make sure that everyone understood the different meanings, times, and approaches of these 5 groups of theories. At the same time, the 6 leadership styles designed by Daniel Goleman were delivered and presented to understand how adaptable a leader must be in different situations. This was very helpful in the teamwork because the teams or team leaders could define which style they wanted to choose for their work, as well as reflecting on which styles they have mainly used in the past. The next important learning was about differences between leadership and management, which mainly is that a leader tries to achieve the best within his team by having a shared vision and supporting the members, whereas a manager wants to achieve best for the company, organizing people to work most efficiently. The best result for everyone will be achieved when combining these two most efficiently. The conclusion here is that nowadays management should become more a leadership process. The last very important topic for the teamwork and classroom simulation was mindfulness and emotional intelligence. Different aspects of being mindful were shown to the class, as well as the benefits of meditation and self realization, as a way to become more mindful. To answer individual questions from the students about leadership, the highlight of the lectures was a Skype conference live meeting with Niccolò Branca, the CEO and president of Fratelli Branca Distillerie SRL in Italy. During the event, the students were free to ask their questions about leadership to a real successful leader who had proven himself in many challenges. This was a moment where the students could really benefit from actual leadership. All these aspects prepare the students to apply leadership in their future working life, to act mindful, think wisely, take responsibility, and perform well in a team. The practical work and challenges. To apply this theoretical knowledge, there were continuous tasks given to the class. The benefits of this procedure are that the students keep track of lecture materials, are given a chance to apply the gained knowledge and skills, become more creative, and get new ideas to use their knowledge differently. These tasks were given using technology through a mobile cloud-based app called Shakespeare. These challenges were given weekly with the intention to motivate students to apply their skills and knowledge. Also, this helps the lecturer to keep track of the students' learning and support or provide help if there are struggles. For example, one week the task was called Out of the Chorus. The students were asked to think of a song or soundtrack which represented the influence process of leadership. The students had to share their reasons and their motivation for choosing their song and explain the emotions and values they connected to it. This is very smart because the students were kindly forced to reflect about the influence process in leadership, so that is how their knowledge was applied. The 6 themes: teamwork, project-based learning. Quote, modern English lead is related to Old English words meaning a way, a journey and to travel. If you are not on a journey, don't bother with leadership, just settle with management. End quote. The quote was taken by John Adair, 2013. So that this class focused on leadership above management. A journey was needed. It was given as the simulation. The simulation started after having the first few lectures and the presentations about leadership theories. The groups were already set for the presentations, and due to coincidence, it turned out to be teams of about 10 people each. The 6 mindful team leaders of this classroom simulation were Robin Kraus, Stefano Pino, Riccardo Sciaretta, Jorn Donderns, Loïc Lebras, and Team Friederich, me. Together with our teams, we received the first task and initiated the first phase of this simulation. First phase, bond together with the team and find a shared dream to which everyone in the team can connect. The reason for this task is that the teams needed something common, something to connect. This means more than just finding a common dream. It is to unite all team members and make them to look in the same direction. It is a very important step. It is the foundation on which everything else should build up on. Of course, there are also some difficulties with such a task. Most likely, not everyone will share the same dream. To create a shared dream, some members will have to compromise, which can already lead to unsatisfied team members in the very beginning of the simulation. Nevertheless, after every team found their dream, it was time for the second task. Create a vision around the dream or define a process to achieve the dream. This was the logical next step. First one must plan how to make a dream come true before it can happen. The most important part of this task is to bring the teams even closer together and make a precise vision which everyone can align to. When the teams finished this phase, the third task was to focus on the process of making the dream come true. This part includes building a system which is structuring the dream. Building a company structure and allocating team members to certain functions, for example, shaping a leadership process. It is important to mention that in this phase, the actual team work starts. A lot of brainstorming was needed as well as team discussions. Solutions for eventual problems must be found. Also, this task required the team to get to know more about each other to allocate members to the right tasks. Before the simulation ended, the very last phase was to measure the process and, if necessary, adjust the outcome. This is the reflection part of the simulation. Here, the teams must think about their achievement and work processes and analyze what was good and what could have been better about their work. There is still time to change plans or try a different leadership style, for example. This is what makes it such a great learning experience. There is a real situation which has to be handled, and the tasks will bring challenges with them. The more serious this simulation is taken, the greater is the learning for the students. The reasons the Blue Sharks team was entitled as the Mindful Team. Success does not come from nothing. What is the reason for success then? Why was the Blue Sharks team so successful in this teamwork? There is not one specific reason for this success, and there are always many influences. These three aspects played an important role: the shared dream and vision, the executional process, and the result. Let's have a look about the three one by one. The shared dream and vision. It started with the shared dream management of a sustainable company. As described before, for a lot of us it meant a compromise. However, everyone was at least a little interested in this dream, and so we could proceed quickly to the next task to create a vision or a process for the sustainable company. To make it easier, we decided on a feel and purpose for the company first. We chose a sustainable restaurant chain for the company. This made it possible to spread over the whole world and make people happy by also acting sustainable and environmentally friendly. All team members liked this idea. We all wanted to go in the same direction. This is the first reason for our excellent teamwork. Every one of us found their own motivation in the dream and vision and knew where we wanted to go with this teamwork. This is fundamental for every teamwork. It's important for every member to follow the same goal and know precisely what that goal is. Second aspect, the executional process. Basic information was given, knowledge about leadership was there, it just had to be applied. That was more difficult than expected. If it had been easy, it would not have been a challenge. That was what it was all about, the challenge and the process. The task was to focus on the process, and that is what we did. We gathered a lot of information about existing sustainable restaurants. We did a lot of brainstorming, planning, and structuring. We thought about a possible company structure and which of us could be suitable for which management positions. This was quite a big step in the direction of management because we just thought about the functions for each of us and whom could perform best, instead of thinking as a team. At the very time, we started to watch the processes in our team and how we could improve our teamwork, and how this could be also good for the company we were creating. This changed our whole perspective. We realized that the journey was the goal and that this task was more about trying than achieving right away. We understood that part of the task, the hidden one, was to show initiative, intention, and creativity. We had team meetings nearly every week, and we started a big process to implement leadership instead of management in our company. We thought of good methods for evaluation, a fantastic structure for the whole chain, and programs for employees to identify better with the company. There was a lot of leadership implemented in our company, and just because we realized that, it made us learn more about our teamwork. What was the goal of the whole simulation then? It was a dream. It was a process. We realized that when we thought of giving feedback inside the company, and we started giving feedback to each other. So our ideas worked both ways, which was good for the company, was also good for the team, and the other way around. We wanted something valuable for ourselves. Giving feedback was a good start. It turned out that this is one of the most important things in a team. We started too late with giving feedback, so some issues and problems during our teamwork were criticized in the end, when there was no change to change them anymore. For our company, we decided that feedback should be implemented from the very beginning. That would also be the case for the next teamwork of ours. Still, this was not satisfying. That is why we collected more ideas to improve the leadership in our sustainable restaurant chain, as well as in our team. We had a lot of ideas to swap the team leader so that also members could have an experience as leader, for example. This idea failed, first because there was not enough time to make everyone a leader, and second because the members had no idea what to do until their time as a leader was already over again. Imagine a company would change their leader every week. No one would seriously expect that to work. Then, during one team meeting, a member asked the right question. How can we improve the leadership experience in our group? As explained before, we already tried to improve our teamwork, but when this question came up, we realized that we were not satisfied with our outcome so far. Hence, we thought further about what leadership is and how we could define it. In the end, we decided that leadership for an individual means to have a certain set of skills, which can indeed be developed. The skills for us were mainly self awareness, mindfulness, emotional intelligence, communication in a team, self confidence, sustaining when facing a challenge, and to believe in what one does and taking responsibility for one's actions and tasks. These skills could be developed. The answer to the question from my team member is self reflection. I will explain why in the result part. The reason we found this answer was open communication. The team members felt comfortable enough to ask critical questions in the team, as well as offering solutions which might not be liked by other members. This is essential for a successful team work. The result. The most valuable result of this teamwork is the way or journey to develop leadership. First, one needs experience, and one will gain that throughout the simulation. Cultural and language differences must be dealt with, as well as personal differences because of not knowing the team beforehand. This is quite challenging, and that is exactly what brings experience. However, experience is not all. There is the second step, which is at least as important as the experience. It is self reflection. That is what everyone must do on their own by thinking about what one does, how one reacts, and making oneself always aware of that. Of course, others can help with this process by giving useful feedback and being honest about their own reflection. In the end, it is one's own responsibility to learn and develop oneself. In practice, this means that one sets a goal for a skill which one wants to develop. For example, time management and public speaking. Now, there is a goal, but no way to achieve this goal. One needs measurement. For time management, this could be to create detailed to do lists every evening for each day and prioritize tasks for the next day. For public speaking, it can be measured in number of presentations given. All this needs to have a time frame, like one semester. Now, the achievement of the goals can be tracked throughout and after the semester. This is the part of gaining practical experience. Afterwards, one can start to rate how successful one was in achieving these personal goals and if the wanted skills are gained. This is the reflection part. And of course, others can and should help with that by giving feedback or supporting in other ways. In this phase, it is necessary to be honest with oneself and look at what one has achieved and what not. For this, it also helps to split up the bigger goals into smaller ones, which are easier to track. Public speaking could be divided into confidence in talking in front to others, controlling one's voice, body language, and many more. As one can already see here, some are just measurable by oneself, confidence, whereas other criteria might be a lot easier to be rated by others, like voice, body, language. As mentioned before, honesty is the most important thing here. In the end, there will be development because the person challenges herself himself and will either realize that she became better at time management or public speaking, or the person will realize why there was no improvement and what needs to be changed to achieve better next time. This development is a continuous process, and one must move forward, set higher goals, and adjust actions accordingly. This also means that everyone can develop oneself. One does not have to be the team leader for that. It just takes will, ambition, and goals. Everyone can do that and gain the skills to become a successful leader. Everyone can develop leadership. Leading a team mindfully, a personal experience. What everyone wants to know now is what is the best way to lead a team. Unfortunately, there is no perfect answer to that question. At least I cannot give one. But there are some essential rules who can follow, which will make the team work go easier and make it more successful. At first, define a goal and vision for the team, maybe a work purpose, if that is suitable. Make sure that every member understands and agrees on this purpose or vision. Start with feedback early and continue it in frequent intervals, like weekly or monthly. Communication is the key. Motivate members to be honest and speak their mind. Be honest with them and show that they do not need to fear failure, because this is what makes human creative. If members are afraid of doing something wrong or saying something which will embarrass them, they will remain silent and their potential is lost. And finally, one has to accept others' opinions and thoughts, and also that they might be better than one's own. When accepting that, teamwork is going to be the most productive way of working. If one does not, decisions will take a long time and working together will be exhausting and unsatisfying. Be open to other ideas and do not fight too hard for your own opinion. This is what I learned from leading the Blue Sharks team, and I'm sure it will help me in future teamwork. So follow these simple rules, and the next teamwork will be for sure more successful, easier, and funnier than previous one. To conclude, the mindful class. In my opinion, this classroom simulation was a very good chance to develop and gain experience about leadership, because the best way to learn something is by doing it. This simulation gave the class a better awareness of leadership and how to work successfully in a team. It made the teams, especially the members, more aware of what good leadership looks like. Moreover, it raised awareness of how to deal with diverse teams in difficult situations. It made me, as an individual, more aware of the importance of communication, and that a good team does not just need a good leader, but even more importantly, good members. I learned how to develop myself efficiently and how to help others with it. The chance to lead such a big team gave me a lot of confidence, and I became more open minded about leadership and different styles used in different cultures and nations. It also taught me to stay focused and be aware of the present moment, called mindfulness. This refers to the beginning of this article where I mentioned the name of this class. For all this thinking and reflecting and mindful acting of the class, the teams and the individuals were named the mindful class.